You think about university, you think of a building, books in the library, classrooms, students roaming around, teachers, and a huge fees to get admission. Imagine a university which is not fixed at one place, where students can study at their own ease, at their desired locations, where the curriculum is updated with the technological changes and focus on the true things which matter in life. The university which focuses on developing mindset. The university which develops skills. We are talking about the contemporary education mechanism, the virtual university. International Internship University believes in inspiring, inventing, igniting young minds, cultivating excellence in every student by enabling accessible education at their own ease through virtual internships. Virtual internships act as a gateway to a world of knowledge application that was previously held behind closed doors for the fresh graduates. The ability to meet, speak, work, and collaborate with industry professionals from a diverse range of fields, such as engineering, business management, humanitarian fields, and much more, delivers insights that the students can foster for a lifetime. It bridges the ever so glaring gap between the demands of the corporate world and the pride of academia. We invite applications for PhD, Doctorate in Literature, Doctorate in Science, LLD honors degree from experienced personnel in various disciplines who have rich experience in their respective fields. The program is offered only to a select group of accomplished individuals. As a professional, a degree or additional degree will allow you to make a greater impact. The expedient way of showing the world your knowledge, abilities, experience, and talents is with your degree and use of your titles.
Hello, what's your name?
My name is Laura.
You mean
Yes, Munha, you can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fueling Minds with Curiosity, technology-supported inquiry-based learning. My name is Mona Sawan, founder of Empowering Educators Academy, a tech and AI and education trainer. I'm grateful today to explore practical strategies that help us shift from teacher-centered instruction to student-driven inquiry supported by technology. So my question for you, please, I want to share the link here with you on the chat box. Okay, you can scan the barcode here or go to wooklab.com and enter the event code, or I will share the link via chat box, okay? Please go ahead and answer the question just to know which of these objectives is most important for you today. No, this one. What one word comes to your mind when you hear inquiry-based learning? You can go to wooklab.com and use the code DUIPRR, and I will share again the link with you. Okay. Excellent. Asking questions, right? Solving problems. critical thinking, curiosity, excellent, active student. Okay, thank you all for sharing your answers. Let's back to our presentation. So here are the goals of today's session. We will connect inquiry with meaningful technology use, identify practical tools, design inquiry activities, apply blended learning strategies, and evaluate real classroom examples. The second question for you for this section, I will share here the link via chat box, or you can, as I mentioned before, navigate to it, go to wooklab.com and use the code. Inquiry activities. I have 9 participants in this form. Yeah, blended learning. Just wait a moment to let others answer the question. Okay. So inquiry activities, blended learning, also tech tools, classroom examples. Thank you. So inquiry-based learning is a student-centered approach where learners ask questions, explore resources, analyze information, and build understanding. So my role as a teacher shifts here from directing to facilitator. So in your experience, you can answer in the chat box, what helps students ask better questions? We can share your answer in the chat box. In your experience, what helps students ask better questions? Yes, dear Hannah, also it's going live on the Facebook. So I'm waiting for your answer for this question, please. Okay, let's move. We have one answer. Oh, yes. Thank you. Curiosity, right. Mindset, excellent, Miss Natalie. Thank you all. Thank you so much. So why inquiry matters today? Inquiry isn't just a methodology. It's a skill building approach that supports, like you mentioned, critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, and digital literacy. These are the competences students need for the future. So, which skill do your students struggle with the most? Which skill do your students struggle with the most? I mentioned critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, and digital literacy. So which skill do your students struggle with the most? Writing, critical thinking, all are all are related, okay? Problem solving, communication, digital literacy, critical thinking as well. Okay, thank you. So, before we dive deeper into technology, I want to pause here. Because sometimes when we talk about EdTech, people think we want to replace everything with the screens. But look at our children. Yes, they absolutely love tablets, videos, digital games, but they also love Legos, markers, jumping, books, and even mud puddles. So
الله
technology,
يلعنك فوجي، الله يلعنك انت ومثبتك بلسانك.
Dr. Manal, please, can you mute yourself?
I will.
Okay. So, but look at our children, as I mentioned. Yes, they absolutely love tablets, videos, digital games, but they also love Legos, markers, jumping, books, and even mud puddles. And this reminds us of something powerful. Technology is not the goal, but the balance is. We have to balance. So the magic happens when we combine the digital world with the physical world. So when students can build with Legos, explore with Google Earth, and then jump into a real hands-on activity. Here it's when inquiry happens, both on the screen and in their hands. So as educators, our job is not to choose between technology or real experiences. Our job is to blend them so learning becomes richer, deeper, and more joyful. So we have to balance. Every time we have to balance. Now, let's take a moment to look at this traditional classroom model. The one many of us grew up in. In this setup, the teacher is the main source of information. Students sit in rows, facing one direction, listening quietly while the teacher talks. So everyone receives the same content at the same time in the same way. Learning is usually passive. So students complete worksheets, memorize information, and then apply the learning alone at home as homework, right? There's very little collaboration, very little movement, and almost no differentiation. It's a model that focuses on covering content, not necessarily building skills. So, and while this model worked for many years, it doesn't fully meet the needs for today's learners. We are now in the digital era, right? Especially not in the digital era, especially in a world full of critical thinking and requires critical thinking, creativity, communication, and problem solving. There is where we start asking big questions. What if students could engage more actively? What if learning didn't depend only on the teacher speaking? What if students worked together, explored, questioned, and created? And that leads us to our next model, which is the flipped classroom. So now let's contrast this with a very different approach, which is the flipped classroom. In the flipped model, the roles shift. So here the teacher becomes a facilitator. Students become active participants. And the class time becomes a space for inquiry, collaboration, hands-on writing, learning, applying knowledge, not just receiving it. Okay, see this in your screen. Teachers as a facilitator, collaboration, students-led, real-world application. All of us as educators know this kind of classroom. We have another model, Aspire blended learning model. This model highlights different learning pathways. What is it? Different learning pathways. Can you share your answer, please? What you know about different learning pathways? You can share on the chat box. You can share on the chat box. Students together, computer and student, excellent. What else? Yalla, ladies and gentlemen, you can answer here. Share your answer, please, in the chat box. Just take it to engage together. Okay, so different learning pathways, which is traditional, play-based, guided practice, technology-enhanced stations. Inquiry fits naturally because students move between independent and collaborative exploration. Look at this slide, please. Look at this slide. Now let's look at what this model looks like when it comes to life inside a real classroom. So what you are seeing here is a multi-zone learning environment, a classroom where different types of learning happen at the same time, depending on students' needs, readiness, and interests. On one side, we have guided practice, where the teacher here works closely with a small group, offering support, modeling strategies, or clarifying concepts. This is where targeted teaching happens. Right beside that, we move into play-based learning, a space where students explore, build, imagine, and interact physically. This is hands-on, messy, authentic learning, but supports creativity, communication, and problem solving. Then we transition to the traditional independent zone, which is a quiet zone for individual seat work, reading, writing, or tasks that need focus. From there, we enter the traditional collaborative zone, where students work together, discuss ideas, compare thinking, and support each other. And finally, we have the two technology zones. If you look at the slide, you can see it. Technology, which is collaborative, where students work in pairs using digital tools to investigate, create, and share ideas. And technology independent, where students use devices individually, exploring resources, watching mini lessons, practicing skills, or completing tasks at their own pace. What's powerful is that all of these zones exist within the same classroom or the same time, right? All of these zones exist within the same classroom at the same time. So students here move flexibly between them, depending on the learning task. So this step does three things. It personalizes learning, so students get what they need. It keeps learners active and engaged, so no one is sitting for long periods doing the same thing. It naturally supports inquiry because students explore, collaborate, and create instead of only listening. This is blended learning in action, and it's also where technology supports. So the role of technology in inquiry-based learning. Technology amplifies inquiry. It helps the students explore beyond the classroom, engage more deeply, take initiative, and reflect on their learning. But remember, technology is a tool, not the goal. Okay, my question for you, what is one tech tool your students love? What is one tech tool your students love? Okay, you can answer here, please. You can take the QR code or go to Google Clap. I will also share the link on the chat box. Okay, please use this tool. Kahoot, Canva, Bamboozle, yes, this one is very important for the classroom management. Thank you, Miss Natasha. Class Dojo, Quizzes, Kahoot. Let me see now. Okay, excellent. Class Dojo, Quizzes, Kahoot, Canva. Okay, Gamma. So what is one tech tool your students love? That means you are using technology in your classroom, which is amazing. Thank you. Okay, so remember again, technology is a tool, not the goal. Now let's look at why technology is such a powerful partner for inquiry-based learning. These benefits come directly from real classroom experiences. First, technology opens door to the real world. We will see on the upcoming slides how. Students can take virtual tours of recycling centers, space stations, places we could never physically visit. This transforms curiosity into authentic learning. So, first benefit, technology opens door to the real world. Second benefit, technology improves communication and the presentation skills. How? So when students use tools like Flip or Canva, they learn to organize their ideas, speak clearly, and present professionally, skills they will need all their lives. Third benefit, it enhances collaboration. It enhances collaboration. How? How it enhances collaboration? So with shared documents, Padlet's wall, or Canva whiteboards, students can build ideas together even when they are not sitting next to each other. So technology makes thinking visible. Fourth benefits, it encourages student voice. How? Can you tell me, please? You can open your mic and tell me how technology encourages student voice. You can open your mic and share your answer in the chat box. Okay, let me see. Are you able to open your mic? Okay, so no answer. So I will tell you how. So shy students who don't speak in class often express themselves beautifully through a video response, a photo reflection, or a digital project. So technology gives every student a way to be heard. Fifth benefit, inquiry, as you know, requires teamwork, problem solving, and digital tools help students negotiate roles, compare findings, and make decisions together. So technology make the learning more strength, and it's very important for social skills. Finally, I love this one, by the way. Technology supports hands-on learning. It doesn't replace real-life experiences. It enhances them. Students can build, explore, test, and reflect in ways that combine physical activity with digital tools. So the message here from the benefits of technology is very simple. Technology doesn't replace inquiry, but it deepens it. Technology doesn't replace inquiry, it deepens it. Look at this slide. Here we see a real example of how technology transforms an inquiry experience. This student is investigating a real-world problem. In this case, هون عم بيعمل recycling, عم بيعمل experiment. So with technology, this girl, access actual footage of recycling facilities, watch a process step by step, and compare different methods. So this takes the inquiry far beyond a textbook or a classroom discussion, right? As she researches, she is also gathering information that she will later organize and present. So she learns how to take notes, select important details, and communicate her findings clearly. These are powerful presentation skills. But this process isn't happening in isolation. Inquiry pushes students to discuss what they are discovering, compare ideas, negotiate meaning, and sometimes even disagree. That's where collaboration and compromise naturally emerge. And through this back and forth, students learn something deeper: the practice of democracy, listening to others, sharing your voice respectfully, and contributing to a collective understanding. So technology plays a key role by giving students access to what? To information, tools to create, and platforms to communicate. But the real learning goes beyond the device. It's about building voice, collaboration, teamwork, responsibility, and the confidence to use the the EdTech tools. Now, these tools, and this slide, which is Google Earth, YouTube Edu, Google Lens, interactive simulations, these tools support the first stage of inquiry exploration. Okay, so Google Earth for what? For, let's say, virtual field trips. YouTube Edu, YouTube Education for curiosity triggers. Google Lens for discovery, and simple simulations like FIT. All teachers know this tools, which is FIT, benefits for sciences teacher. Which exploration tool would you like to try first? You as a teacher, as an educator, which exploration tool? These tools for exploration, okay? Support the the first stage of inquiry is exploration. Which exploration tool would you like to try first? Let me see. Google Lens, through games, so they are not afraid. Okay, Google Lens. So what about others? Google Earth. What about YouTube Education, simulation? FED. Thank you all. Thank you. Now, let's move to the research tools. Research should be simple and safe. So, YouTube Edu helps visually explain concepts. في عنا كمان simple Google search اللي هو safe Google search. This tool provides structured information. Google Lens supports what? Quick investigations. My question for you, please. Do your students struggle with online research? Just say yes or no. Do your students struggle with online research? Yes. So you have to train them how to use the research tool, okay, in a simple and safe way. So these tools for research, it's very safe. YouTube Education, safe Google Search, Google Lens, and Google Scholars. And we also have the collaboration tool, which is very essential in these days. As you know, collaboration tools like Padlet, Google Docs, Canva, whiteboards, all of these collaboration tools support brainstorming. So these tools make thinking visible and allow students to build ideas together. And for this tool, please, which collaboration tool have you used before? In the chat box, please. Which collaboration tool have you used before? Canva whiteboard is very, very effective. All Teams, Padlet, all of them, excellent. Excellent. Padlet, Microsoft Teams. Thank you. So this supports brainstorming and collaboration. Now let's move to the reflection tools. Reflection is a key part of inquiry. So Flip helps with video reflections. Let's say OneNote or Docs for journals, Seesaw for young learners, and Google Sites for portfolios. Which reflection method do you prefer? Usually writing, drawing, or recording? Which reflection? As you know, at the end of the lesson, you should do a reflection, right? It's like an exit ticket. So, which reflection method do you prefer? Writing, drawing, or recording? Actually, I haven't used any from the mentioned because I don't spot reflection. لا, it's very important to spot reflection at the end of the lesson or at the end of the session. Writing. I use it as exit slip paper. Okay, but you can use Google Docs, share it as a link, or maybe you can share it as the learning management system of the school as a reflection at home. If your student doesn't have access to the internet. So, inquiry isn't random. Isn't random. We have this cycle. Okay? So it follows a very intentional cycle. It's a learning journey that takes students from curiosity to action. So let's now walk through these stages together in a simple, practical way. We start with tuning in. This is where we spark curiosity. As usual. Through what? Through video. Maybe an image, maybe a story, or even a real object. Here, in this cycle, students begin noticing, wondering, asking questions. So, tuning in, this is where we spark curiosity. Next comes finding out. This is the exploration stage. Here, in this stage, students start researching, observing, collecting information, watching demonstrations, or maybe interviewing others. So technology is especially powerful here because it gives them access to resources beyond the classroom. Then we move to sorting out. Students now organize what they have learned, grouping ideas, comparing information, identifying patterns, and making connections. This is where thinking becomes visible in the sorting out. So now in this stage, students organize what they have learned. After that, we have going deeper. Here, students push their thinking further. They investigate more. They investigate more focused questions and also maybe conduct experiments, analyze results, test ideas, or challenge their assumptions. This is where inquiry becomes truly meaningful. Then comes to taking action. Students use their learning to create something, maybe a model, a solution, a presentation, a poster, a product, a proposal. This is the stage where students apply knowledge in authentic, real-world ways. Finally, we end with reflecting. So if you are using the inquiry-based approach, okay, so your teaching and learning, your session must be end with reflection. So reflecting at the end of the cycle. Okay, so students in this stage think about what they learned, how they learned it, what surprised them, and what questions they still have. So reflection is what transforms an activity into understanding. So here students move back and forth between stages. What matters is that inquiry gives them ownership, gives them voice, and a sense of purpose. Okay. I'm presenting this activity to let the idea more clear. This activity is a beautiful example of how technology can deepen inquiry while still keeping everything authentic and connected to real life. Let's say we begin with a virtual tour of a recycling facility. This immediately brings the real world into the classroom. So students see machines, process, workers, and suddenly recycling becomes more than a chapter in a book. It becomes real, and that sparks powerful questions. Then, students, okay, first spark powerful question, right? Then students become investigators. How? They walk around the school with their mobile phones, let's say, taking photos of waste they find. This makes them notice things they usually ignore. What kind of waste we produce, where it collects, and how much of it is actually recycled. Next, after the investigation, they bring all those photos back and sort the data together, right? So, in this one activity, students explore, investigate, analyze, create, and present, all supported by simple, accessible technology. Technology is very easy to use in the class. Okay, let's move to another activity. This activity is one of my favorites because it brings pure curiosity back into the classroom. We start here by showing students a zoomed in image or an AI generated clue. It might be a close-up of an object, an animal, a tool, or even a piece of artwork. The key is that they don't know what is it yet, right? What it is. Right away, their minds wake up. They start observing, predicting, wondering. Then, instead of giving them answers, we give them a space to ask questions. Using Padlet, students post their thoughts. Example, what could this be? Where might it be found? Why does it have this shape? They read each other's ideas, build on them, and the whole Padlet becomes a living wall of curiosity. Okay, asking questions. As you know, second stage is the investigation stage. So students use safe search tool, okay? مثل ما حكينا Google Safe Search, YouTube Kids, why to look for clues, images, and explanations that match their predictions. This step helps them practice research skills in a safe and scaffold way. Finally, they bring everything together by creating a digital explanation book. This can be done in Google Slides, Canva, or Book Creator. Here, students explain what the object is, how they figured it out, what evidence they used, what new information they discovered. This activity is powerful because students are not just learning facts. They are learning how to think, how to ask questions, how to analyze evidence, and how to reflect on their work. Okay. Now let's move to tech for curiosity and creativity. QR codes, Padlet, Canva, Google Forms. These tools encourage curiosity and creativity. Google Form, as you know, for data. QR codes for scavenger hunts, Padlets for wonder walls, Canva for visual products. My question now, which creative tech tool do your students enjoy the most? Which creative tech tool do your students enjoy the most? Share your answer, please, in the chat box. Game-based tools. Game-based tools for curiosity and creativity. Okay. What else? Canva. Canva for creativity. QR codes for creativity and curiosity. Thank you. Okay. Balancing teacher guidance and student autonomy. Okay. One of the biggest misconceptions about inquiry-based learning is that the teacher steps back and the students just figure things out. But that's not what inquiry is. Inquiry is a balance. Inquiry is a balance, a partnership between teacher and learner. On the left side, you see our role as teachers. We guide the learning journey. We begin with mini lessons, short and purposeful, to give students just enough information or skill to move forward. We create checkpoints, moments where we pause, listen, and gently steer students in the right direction. We give feedback that helps them refine their ideas, deepen their thinking, and improve their work. And we facilitate discussions. How? By asking questions, prompting reflection, helping students make connections. So yes, we are still present. We are still teaching, but we are not the only voices in the room. Okay? So on the right side, we see the student's role. And this is where the magic happens. Students become leaders of their own learning. They investigate, collaborate, take notes, and document their thinking, create meaningful products, and present, reflect on what they have discovered. This shift from teacher-led to student-led learning is the heart of inquiry. It builds ownership, confidence, and independence. And when technology is added, students have even more opportunities to lead, using tools to research, to create, to share, and to reflect. So, the message of this slide is very simple. We teach when needed. We teach when needed, guide when appropriate, and step back when possible, giving students, please, the space to think, explore, and grow. So, blended learning models. Okay, we still have this last model. When we integrate inquiry with technology, we need flexible structures that support both independence and teacher facilitation. So blended learning gives us exactly that, a balance between traditional instruction and digital exploration. Let's walk through the 4 most effective blended learning models for inquiry. First one, which is station rotation. This is the model many teachers already use, but a blended learning makes it even more powerful. Students here rotate between traditional tasks, digital tasks, and a teacher-led station. It allows you as a teacher to what? Which is very important, to differentiate, to support small groups and keep students active and engaged. Inquiry fits beautifully here because students can explore, research, collaborate, and create in different stations. Now, second one, which is flipped learning. In the flipped model, here content moves outside the classroom. Usually, كلنا بنستخدم short videos. Students watch or explore at home at their own pace and come to class ready to dive into inquiry, discussions, problem solving, experiments, and collaboration. This is especially effective when we want to shift the class time from listening to doing. I like flipped classroom. Choice boards give students options, different tasks, tools, or products they can choose from based on interests or learning styles. This naturally supports inquiry because students make decisions, take ownership, and follow their curiosity. Technology makes choice boards richer with links, videos, apps, and creative tools. Final model, which is the learning pathways. This is where students move through activities at their own pace. They can what? They can revisit a mini lesson, move ahead when ready, or explore an idea more deeply. It's wonderful for inquiry because students need time and the freedom to investigate and build understanding. Technology helps track progress and offer personalized resources. All 4 models give students the time, space, everything they need. I want here to share a real classroom story, that shows what inquiry looks like when students truly take the lead. In this class, students became fascinated with recycling after exploring videos and asking questions. So instead of giving them worksheets or fixed tasks, the teacher opened the door for them to create their own learning environment. The result, they built an entire student-led recycling center. Some students designed the sorting machines from cardboard, tubes, and recycled materials. So, engineering real solutions based on what they saw in virtual tours. Others created recycling trucks and acted out the process of collecting and transporting waste. This wasn't pretend play. It was an authentic demonstration of their understanding. So other students created vocabulary lists to label their center, words like plastic, metal, reuse, reduce. So their language came from what? From what they discovered, not what the teacher tell them. They make posters to educate others in the school about why recycling matters. This is where student voice becomes real, not just an activity. And finally, they produce digital presentations to share their findings with classmates, parents, or even other classes. They used simple tools like Canva, Flip, to show their learning creatively and confidently. What I love about this example is that every product came from students' questions, not from a teacher's checklist. The learning was alive, student-owned, and deeply connected to the real world. This is the power of inquiry supported by technology. So now, as we wrap up our session today, I want to highlight the 4 big ideas I hope you will carry with you. First, inquiry builds lifelong skills. These are not the skills for passing a test, they are skills for life. So when students investigate, question, analyze, and create, they are developing the abilities they will need in the future workforce, community, and world. Second, technology expands what is possible. It gives the students access to real-world experiences, creative tools, collaboration platforms, and authentic ways to share their learning. So technology doesn't replace the teacher, it amplifies learning. Third, teachers guide, but students lead. Inquiry allows us to shift from being the center of the classroom to being the facilitator. So not only the facilitator, only the supporter. So students become thinkers, problem solvers, creators, and decision makers. And finally, inquiry creates joyful, meaningful learning experiences. So when students are curious, when they feel ownership, when they explore and create, learning becomes exciting. So it becomes something they remember. It becomes something they care about. So if there is one message I want you to leave with today, it is this: inquiry makes learning alive, and technology help it reach further. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Mona. I would like to thank you for this amazing sessions for today. Usually we just have something amazing from you. Before we are going to leaving, I also would like to thank all our participants for today, whether here on the Zoom, also IAU audience on Facebook. Just a reminder before you are going to leave the session, if you please, I share the attendance link for the certificates on the chat. So if you please make sure to write your name as you wanted to have it in the certificates of attendance. So if you please make sure not to leave before you are going to fill in the links. Also, with respect to our audience on Facebook, I'm going to share the link on the Facebook. So if you please try to do that. Thank you again, Muna. Thank you for all our participants today. And like usually, stay tuned for more sessions. Will be in English, so I write. Just
Yes.
have a message. Yes, yes. If you please, English. English. Usually, the certificates we use English language. So if you please try to make sure to write as you want to have it in your certificate, as I mentioned before. So again, thank you all for being with us today, and stay tuned for more sessions with Dr. Muna, and sure with other IAU ambassador, education ambassador. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you.